All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Ruthless ST Radio podcast of 2022. And we took those 2 weeks off, and we did some changes around here. The show is now available on YouTube. Kind of important, kind of big step. We learned some stuff from PRI. We're going to be introducing some new stuff as the year goes on. My schedule is going to be busy as hell, and it starts with, at least I think it starts with, this first event in March. What event am I talking about? I am talking about the Fremont 500 for the Endurance Kart Racing League. And with me today, I have one of the founders of the Endurance Kart Racing League, Evan Smoot. You guys will remember Evan was one of the first hosts that we had on last year, and he's back. Well, at least for this episode. Evan, how you doing this week?
Oh, pretty good. How are you guys?
Well, considering I'm just one person and I'm just a guy, I'm pretty
Oh
good.
yeah. That's-
Good one there. So before we dive in and we start talking about all things karting, I do have bills to pay, mouth to feed, kinda sorta, not really. Um, we do have our one sponsor, is Jeff from the car spa. Man, I haven't done a live read in a couple weeks. This is gonna be fun. The car spa. Jeff does all the work out of his house. He's kind of in his little bit of an off season right now because it's the winter. And he doesn't have a heated shop, at least that I'm aware of. But he'll do everything from a basic wash wax to a full-on ceramic coating, which is pretty cool. He charges pretty fairly. His work's great and it's top notch. And he'll give you actually a discount for setting up service through from listening to the show. If you go to the Car Spa Detailing on Facebook, you get to see some of his work. And you can also go to the carspadetailing.weebly.com to not only see his work, but also schedule service and get his price list. Tell him that we sent you over here at Ruthless ST Radio, and by using offer code Ruthless, he will give you 10% on your scheduled service. The Car Spa. Your car needs this. That wasn't as good as some of them, but we'll take it anyways. We do this live to tape, so like always. So, Evan, let's jump right into it. What is the Endurance Kart Racing League?
the Endurance Kart Racing League. The best way I describe it to anybody that asks is we are basically taking go-karts and I guess the concept would be NASCAR style racing, long laps, um, green flags, full course cautions, which is a huge difference over just the regular sprint karting, which does local cautions in certain corners, um, pit stops, the whole 9 yards, basically. If you see it in NASCAR, that is basically what we're basing our league off of. And if you see it there, you're probably going to see it here.
So everything from stage racing to point system to all that fun stuff.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought in the stage racing because that will come in a little later in this conversation. We'll explain how that goes, stuff like that.
Awesome. So I guess one of the questions I have, I mean, it's kind of an important one, right? You know, why?
Uh, so it started with myself and a group of friends at my college. I go to the University of Northwestern Ohio. If your listeners don't know about the school, we are a big motorsports school. We do a lot of work with NASCAR, dirt racing, Monster Jam, NHRA. Basically, if they're in motorsports, we are involved some way or another.
I was gonna
Uh,
say of which I'm really jealous, but continue.
yeah. So a group of my friends had gotten together on like a lunch break after or during class, and we were all talking. A main goal for about I'd say 98% of our students is to end up on our school's motorsport team. Um,
I know when I
You
was
know,
looking at UNOH, that's what I wanted to do.
yeah, yeah. Ohio State has their football. We have a race team, and that's the main goal for a student is to get on that race team. And it has it's here recently. It has been a lot harder to get on that race team. It's more of a pick and choose. Um, who, if you're close with the motorsports instructor, they'll put you on the team. But if you're not close with them, you're kind of out to dry. Um, and a group of the group of friends that I'm talking about, we had gotten together. We're talking about how it's not fair. All of us want to go racing. All of us want to be a part of a team, and about 3% of the student population gets that chance. And so we decided to take matters into our own hands. Um, we picked karting because relatively it's the cheapest form of motorsports there is right now. And
Wheel to wheel, there is, I think.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Honestly, it's a lot cheaper than doing autocross if you think about it.
I
And
mean, I mean, you really want me to break out a price list for you?
oh, I'm very familiar with the autocross price list.
Hell, we are rebuilding a top end of an LS6 this year.
Okay,
But
yeah,
continue.
yeah. I mean, it's very cheap, a lot cheaper. We wanted it that way more so for our students because we're college students. We can't afford big time racing on our own as much as we would love to. So we got this idea together. We were sitting around and we had kind of watched some videos of karting, so we knew what it was about. And it was me that actually looked at everybody and was like, well, everybody else is doing sprint racing in these go karts. Why don't we do something different? Why don't we do endurance racing? And then we got to talking. Well, do we do a 12-hour endurance race? We do a 6-hour endurance race. Do a 24-hour race.
Oh, 24
Um,
hour in a go kart. Yikes.
and there's 24-hour races. It's more popular over in Europe
Uh huh.
because karting is very popular over there.
Right.
Uh, but like down in New Orleans, there is a 24-hour karting event,
Really?
and so we took all of those series into consideration, and the one thing we could not find was a series that was laid out similar to NASCAR. And that's just kind of where we went with it after that. We kind of ran with that opportunity.
I was gonna say I definitely don't remember hearing before you guys, right? At least in the state of Ohio, and I'm pretty plugged in around here. I don't remember hearing about a endurance karting league, so that's kind of what piqued my interest.
Right, right. I was going to say there's plenty of karting here in Ohio. There's uh, your local tracks will usually have club racing for the local guys. There's the Buckeye Karting Challenge BKC, which I ran with them a few times last year. Those are a great group of guys, and Scott Smith, Carson Smith, and Scott Bennett over there, or Benton over there, is they were a big help in us just getting this league together.
Kind of
And
gave you a
they brought
basis,
us,
right?
yes, and they brought us in. They had us work for them a little bit. I raced with them for a little bit. I got the idea of how karting events are ran, and they've just been a tremendous help with everything. And then you also have the Ohio Valley Karting Association, OVKA, which is mainly located more over in Camden, Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
with G&J Raceway. Um, but they don't usually, OVKA doesn't usually travel. They stay at their home track. You have the BKC and now the EKRL, uh, who will be traveling track to track. We don't plan on staying at one track for the whole season. It's just something we didn't want to do. Um,
And it gives as many people as possible a chance to race.
exactly, exactly. Some guys don't want to travel up to Fremont, and some guys are waiting for the last race of the season here, down here in Wilmington, Ohio, which is not far from Dayton. So,
Right.
we're going to have a good mixture of drivers, where they're from. I mean, heck, I've seen that there's a few people from over in Pittsburgh that plan on racing in the 500.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, say for example, I mean, we all know I'm probably going to get a cart eventually, right? That's pretty well known, kind of out there. For somebody that's just starting to look into it, I've done a little bit of homework. That's why I'm framing this a certain way. What is generally a cost of entry to do one of your events? Say
So,
say I don't have a cart, so I have to go get a cart. We'll start there.
okay, we'll start from the beginning. We'll say you don't have a go-kart. So there's a few options. For starters, our league will be running the Briggs and Stratton 206 only. We will not be doing or allowing any other engine but the 206. Mainly because that is a sealed motor from Briggs and Stratton. You cannot break into it. You cannot modify it. And trust me, if you do, the techs are going to know. There's a special seal on those motors
I was gonna
where
say,
if
don't they
they're
don't can't you order a 206 from Briggs still, if
yeah.
I remember
Oh
correctly?
yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Um so, just for an example, if you were to go out and buy let's say you're going out and buy a brand new Briggs and Stratton, with the motor already on there, ready to go. It really just depends on, I guess, at that point, the brand of cart. Um, I've seen 206 fully complete new go karts go for anywhere from 4 to about 6 grand on the high end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
It gets expensive.
right. But for somebody like me, for example, I didn't want to do that. There was
Right.
no way I was going to do that.
There's no
And
way I'm gonna do that either.
right.
That's nuts.
So I went out, and you can find these go karts on Facebook Marketplace, really anywhere. I found mine rolling chassis with no motor for $900.
Oh, that's not bad.
I then went out and got the motor. Granted, the current motor I have is used. I got that for $350.
It
But
still
my
runs.
exactly. But my brand new motor, and I would highly suggest starting off with a used chassis, new motor.
Yeah.
A brand new motor is going to run you anywhere from about $700 with no accessories. It's no carb, no exhaust pipe on it, no
Hmm.
clutch. Or if we're looking at a complete engine, you're looking a little over $1,000, which still is not bad.
That's not horrible at all.
And that's a motor to put right on your chassis, pull start it, and go.
So I guess that's my next question, because like the for example, I was on a quarter midget pit crew for a while,
Okay.
and those are direct drive, straight chain, two axle. You got to
Yes.
push it and get it going. How does one of these go karts work? I guess. I mean,
It's
is
just
there like a
it's
clutch or is there?
no. It's a single speed, 4-stroke engine, and it's just a pull start. It's basically a glorified lawnmower engine.
Gotta love when you put it like that, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And as for prices wise to get into an event, that really just depends. If you're a guy that just wants to race your local club, I think I was paying about $40 per entry to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Now, granted, that's not including your fuel. It's not including your tires that you take on a weekend. Just entry prices.
Right.
You're looking at about $40 for a club race. The bigger events get more expensive. Um, but on January 10th, our pre-entry starts for the EKRL, and currently how our prices are set up, and it's probably subject to change by next year.
Oh, I'm sure.
um, we're looking at and actually, give me 1 second so I could pull this up. I want to get these prices right, and I don't want to.
The benefits of having the series founder on the podcast.
So how we've had it priced so right now is you have a $50 cart entry plus $25 per registered driver entry. So if you're a single car or a single driver team during the pre-entry, um, you will be paying $75. Two driver team goes up to 100. Three driver team goes to 125, and the max four driver team one cart is 150.
That's not bad.
And our pre-entry does start for the Fremont 500 January 15th, and you have until March 12th.
Nice. So obviously the 500 is your crown jewel event.
Yes, yes. Like I said, very NASCAR like. I guess you could say this is our Daytona 500 event.
Nice. And I think it's your first official one of the year, correct?
This is our first official race ever.
Right.
We are we are starting off with a bang. We got this all together over the summer last year, and in March 26th is when we start, and I could not be m- any more excited.
Well, I know there's going to be at least two carts in the field cuz
Yes,
I know, you're obviously driving and
yes,
actually I am entering under my race team, the Burnout Family Motorsports race team, has a technical alliance with you, and I'm gonna drive one of your carts. So that's at least two.
yes. And I will actually be fielding one more go kart, uh, mainly for UNOH students who cannot get onto our race team but still want to be a form of
Oh, that
competitive
is
racing.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So while we're on the subject of that, um, so other than those three, do you know of anyone else maybe that's pre-confirmed that they're gonna run?
So we have a few. We have quite a few. It's becoming more of a young gun show. If you catch my drift, we are getting a lot of younger kids, about 14
Really?
to about 16.
They're gonna give us old farts a run for our money, huh?
Yes, and for anybody who does not pay attention to karting, that does not know, those kids are absolutely ruthless,
Yeah.
and I'm a little scared to run with them. But I think it's going to be great, and I can't tell you any confirmations right now, other than the three that we'll be fielding.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because our pre-entry has not opened up yet. Like I
Mm.
said, it opens up January 15th. Um,
We'll have to do another one of these shindigs like next month or kind of leading up to that.
yeah, absolutely. I would honestly love to get on about a week before the 500.
You got it.
That would be awesome.
So, and this has been a burning question of mine, mainly because this is what I have to go out and buy now. What are so like I've got like Nomex line shoes.
Okay.
What are the other what gear do I need to what gear does somebody need to get? We'll go with that.
So with our league, some leagues will be specific. They will want you to get a karting specific helmet. There is differences between a motorcycle and karting helmet.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the crush rate is really the determining factor on those.
The rating
Uh,
is also different too.
yes,
Usually
yes,
cart helmets are either I think they're FIA or I think Snell also has a cart rating. I don't
yes.
quote me
Snell
on
does
that.
have a cart rating. Um, so with that being said, the leagues that I've run in, I've just run standard DOT motorcycle helmets as long as they're full faced
Mm-hmm.
and they have the visor that flips down to protect your eyes. And basically, that's we will be allowing DOT or karting specific helmets. When it comes to clothing, we would highly suggest and prefer the drivers to get a go karting specific suit, only because it is abrasion safe. Um, it's not fire resistant, but it will keep you protected if something were to fly off of a go kart in front of you from piercing uh, your suit and basically stabbing you, going through you at any point. I know that sounds graphic to some viewers, but that's the reality of it.
I mean,
And
yeah. When
believe it
when
or
you don't
not,
have harnesses or anything, yeah.
right, right. And believe it or not, I have seen stuff fly off of go karts, mainly rocks, from the tires, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I've been hit with them. And I'll tell you what, it can hurt. Um, but the abrasion safe suits will do the job. They will protect you. Um, a neck roll that does not extend down past your shoulders is acceptable, but it is required.
Okay.
Gloves are an absolute must. Um, rib protectors are not required, but I would highly suggest rib protectors because um, I did a lot of sprint racing this year, and after just 25 laps, your ribs are hurting bad, and they hurt for a few days. So rib protectors, I would highly suggest. And then your standard shoes. There's really no spec shoes, I guess you could say. You
Sure.
you could wear gym shoes, um, although we would prefer you to wear racing shoes or a cheap alternative. Go to Dick's Sporting Goods and get yourself a pair of wrestling shoes.
Really?
And yes, the reason why we say this is so that way you can feel the pedal better. You have a
Mm.
better feel of the go kart. You have a better
Mm-hmm.
feel of your pedals.
Yeah, I have a set of Zamp racing shoes,
Okay,
and I love them because when you drive, it's really nice because the sole is really thin.
it's like you're barefoot.
Yes, it is. It is
It's
very nice.
it's
They
the
do get
closest
very
you're
warm,
getting. Exactly.
but
And like for me, for example, I just have a pair of Nike wrestling shoes, and they get the job done.
nice.
And you can feel everything. I can uh, I could big toe my way around the track if I have to. It's extremely easy, and the feel is great. And like I said, it's as close to barefoot as you're going to get.
Right, without actually being barefoot,
Exactly.
which is a big no-no.
Yes.
At least I wouldn't want to
Uh,
do that barefoot.
Now I will say, with the clothing part, there is the option, and guys have run this before. Um, you can run a heavy leather jacket and jeans. Again, I personally would prefer seeing suits, but that is an option. Or if you wear jeans and like if you're a motorcyclist, and you wear a motorcycle jacket, those do happen to be abrasion safe.
They do.
So those are fine as well.
Okay, so I have some options then.
Yes,
Although depending on how often I'm gonna do this, I might as well I might as well just, the way I always see it is you can't ever spend too much on safety gear.
exactly, exactly. And Sparco and people or companies like K1, they actually have a really good. Um, they have a really good uh, line of karting suits, gloves, shoes, any equipment you can think of. K1, Sparco. There's a few others that Alpine Stars, I think, also
A-Stars has
have a.
some good stuff.
Yes, yes.
Basically any of the any of the racing gear manufacturers have very good options as far as safety stuff goes.
Yes, and they have karting specific safety equipment, which I think is great.
Yeah, yeah, that is very nice. But well, that I mean, that's pretty awesome. I mean, for example, it looks like so I'm on Sparco's website right now. And it looks like you can get a rookie suit um, for $139
Yeah,
direct from Sparco, which is nice.
and now obviously the more expensive you go, the higher the line. Um,
Right.
the more protection, the better it's going to be. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. There are cheap options out there. Just got to get on there and look.
Yep. Yeah, I've done some digging. I haven't done much. The main thing I'm digging for is the main reason I was hounding you so much these past couple weeks is because I needed to know what helmet I need to buy. Because
Yes,
I need a new autocross helmet anyways. So I was just gonna, lump the two together and call it a day.
right.
But but yeah, I'm definitely excited for this. Um, this will be my really outside of sim, mind you. This will be my first. Well, and going to kart places, right? I almost wouldn't consider that wheel to wheel racing because technically it's not. But this will be my first real wheel to wheel experience, and I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't my first wheel to wheel experience. I've done a lot of um street stock racing at oval tracks in the past.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Learn something
Yes,
new
yeah.
every day.
We used to run back when I was about 15. I took over my stepdad's street stocks. He had an 86 Monte Carlo that we ran, and I ran that up until I was about 19 or 20 years old. And then finally it just started getting too expensive for me, and
Yeah.
sold the equipment, and I regret it now. But I will say, going from, I went into racing this year expecting something similar to racing street stocks, and um,
Are you
I was
pleasantly
very wrong.
surprised?
I was very wrong. I get a lot of people that will message me and say, "Oh yeah, I drive in my car long hours, or I've done some track days before. We drove all day in on the track, and I think I can do this." And the first thing I tell them, everything you know about driving, especially in a car, you throw it out the window. Um,
Well, yeah, because a go
these
kart is completely different.
is so much different. There's no suspension, first of all. That's the biggest difference. There's no shocks, there's no springs, nothing. You feel everything.
There's also no
Um,
power steering and no power brakes either.
no power steering. It's cable brake. Um, and the steering itself is what amazed me. My first race, I went into a decently banked corner,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what you would see at an oval track.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I went to go turn the wheel like I normally would have in a street stock. And to give people an example, if you're running like a true street stock class where you have a stock steering box from an 80s Monte Carlo, eh, you're almost turning the steering wheel,
It's like a quarter of a turn, isn't it?
I would say a little bit more than a quarter of a turn,
Yeah.
depending on how, I guess, long that turn is.
Mm.
with go-karting, for example, to make a hairpin corner, you are you're probably turning that wheel less than an eighth of a turn.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest adjustment for me. Every time I would go out there, I'd want to turn that wheel, crank that wheel, and expecting to feel the cart fight back in the wheel. You just didn't get that. The
Yeah.
cart, the carts, even if it's not a good balance setup, the carts are set up so well. You don't, you're not going to feel it in the steering until it's too late and you're spun out in front of the pack. Um, you know, you're, when you, especially when you get out there for a practice lap or you know anything at this point,
Hmm.
and you go to take that first corner, um, you're going to be very surprised on how different it is.
Oh, I just, the little bit of actual go-karting experience I have, and you and I kind of talked about this off air a little bit. It ain't much, but yeah, it's very different. Like I've driven the quarter midgets before, and it's huge because the amount of steering input versus the reaction of the car, depending on what it's going to do, is a lot. And it's partially because the wheelbase is so short. Well, let's be honest, the whole footprint of the go kart is small. It's a small
Right.
car, but
Right.
it's just how it handles, which
Yeah.
is going to be fun.
And a lot of the time, um, just watching go-karting, you'll see some of these guys take these corners on, three wheels. The one of
Yeah.
the back wheels will normally lift,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you know your go-kart is actually set up well. You want one of those back wheels, whichever way you're turning, you want one of those back wheels to start lifting off the ground. If they're not lifting off the ground, you're losing momentum, speed, and time in that corner,
Right.
and you're going to get past quick. It's
I got a feeling I'm going to be passed a lot.
uh, and that's to be expected. I will
Yeah.
tell you, um, like I said, I went from winning in street stocks to uh,
Eating
up
your humble
until my
pie?
final up until my final race this past year. I was finishing almost last every time. I think I
Yeah.
had one race where I had finished fifth, and the races in between that race and my last race was just horrible.
Yeah.
You know, so and the people you're racing with, that makes a huge difference. If you're racing against a whole bunch of rookies, you know, you're gonna think you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, most of these guys that are be racing with us, they have been racing since they were in their teens, and they're still racing. And it's it's not going to be fun for a new driver right away,
Yeah.
but with the length of our races, first of all, you don't want to be going out there and being the fastest right away.
Oh, hell no.
You want to save everything, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been thinking a lot about it. I've been trying to figure out my own strategy for what I'm gonna do, and I'm thinking really I myself I'm going to find somebody to just kind of tuck in behind,
Yep. And just
and
cruise.
I'm just gonna cruise up until about maybe 50 laps left, and that's what I'm gonna give it. Everything.
Yep.
Uh, you know, we are going to have at least one mandatory pit stop where you have to make a four tire change. So that'll be cool. We've been, I've been talking with a lot of people. We've been toying the idea of how we're going to do these tires. Because there's different compounds. A certain compound will literally make it the full 500 laps. Other compounds will only make it maybe 150 laps.
Right.
Um, so I myself, I think I'm going to run a softer tire in the beginning of the race. And after our one mandatory pit stop for four tires, I think I'll just put, a harder compound on there and try to uh, go the whole rest of the race without changing tires.
Well, and so I'm not sure how Fremont is set up. I've seen a couple videos, but I don't.
I'll send you a good picture of it right now, actually.
Well, the question I was gonna have, they don't have a hot pit lane, correct?
They do not, and I'm
Okay.
glad you're bringing this up too. This actually goes into the whole stage thing. How earlier we had talked about the stages, stuff like that, and how we would talk about that a little later on in the show. But you're right. Fremont does not have a hot pit. Um, and I'm actually sending you the screenshot right now. The blue line is the track layout that we will be using for the 500.
Uh-huh.
To you, this layout will change for our next race at Fremont, July 3rd, for the 400.
Oh, so you're
Um,
running two events there.
two events at Fremont, yes. And when you take a look at this picture here that I sent you, you'll see what I mean here.
Yeah, let me see if I can. We're gonna, because this is on YouTube too, so let me see if I can download this and throw this on the stream real quick. I should be able to lickety split here, just so everybody knows what we are looking at. Do do do. And I'm gonna have to get better at this anyways, because eventually this is gonna go essentially, live to screen, etc. We're doing
Right.
this is live to tape right now for those that are
Okay.
wondering. Okay, I'll put that there, maybe.
And then I'm going to send you one more screenshot. It's still Fremont,
Uh huh.
but it's a grassy area off to the side, and this will play into the whole pit thing when we get to talking about that here in a second.
Awesome. Let me just
So let
create
me
my sources here real quick.
say, let me know when you're ready for me to kind of go on and continue and explain how pits will work and how the stages will be incorporated with this.
Yep, give me just a second. Gotta shrink and work some stuff here real quick. Gotta shrink some more. Okay, so I've got the track up. And then give me one more second. Actually, I think they can see that. Yeah, so they can, well, let me put it up there anyways. Of course, something went wrong with the application. Maybe. Let's try that again. Okay, so that is the right one. Okay, so we want this over here. Then we go back. Technical difficulties, technical difficulties. And we do a little resizing again. And a bit more. And voila. All right, we are good.
Okay.
So feel free to continue. Which actually, what's I guess, the mileage of Fremont? How long is it of a track?
Hello.
You there?
Yeah, sorry about that. I
You're
cut
good.
out.
You're good. So
Okay.
how long of a track is Fremont?
So Fremont is the layout that we are looking at now, with that little I guess you would call that a
I'd
hairpin
call it a
turn.
keyhole.
Yeah, keyhole, hairpin. Um,
Extra bit.
yeah. We're looking at the blue line here,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So let's go. I think Fremont calls that their hairpin there. So running the hairpin, this is a 0.26 mile track.
Oh wow.
Um, if you do the math, 500 laps around that track, that is going to be 130 miles in length. Uh, yeah, yeah. And then I'm sending you one more picture, and this is the second layout for the July 3rd race. You'll see the difference here. We basically, it's that track without um, with the hairpin, and surprisingly, that hairpin, taking that out, uh, takes a little bit away from uh, the length of the track, and that takes it down to a 0.22 mile track.
Oh wow.
Do your math there, 400 laps around that configuration. That's only 88 miles.
Yeah.
So, it takes it down quite a bit, which was very surprising. But so, yeah, earlier you said there's no hot pits at Fremont, which you are correct. Um, so with that being said, if you're looking at the picture, you see.
Hold on, Evan. You kind of cut out again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm put my thumb over my speaker. That's why.
It
So
happens.
if you're looking at this picture here, you'll see kind of where some concrete leads off to the track.
Mm-hmm.
That'll put you to your scale house. And if you look, there's that grassy area right off to the right of that scale house there. Or I'm sorry, the left of that scale house there.
Uh-huh.
So the reason why we are doing stages, we're doing a three-stage race. The first two stages will be 150 laps, then the final will be a 200 lap shootout.
Ooh.
So we are
What's
doing
a
stage
fuel run?
racing. Yes, we're doing stage racing so that way, and when the stage is over, the field will be frozen. We'll come off the track into that grassy area that you see right there, to the left of the scale house. And that's basically going to be everybody's pit area. And the reason why we're doing that is so that way we can have pit officials keep an eye on everybody, make sure they're not swapping something out that they don't need to be swapping out. Because if we do, or if we see that, you're going back to the back of the line. You lose your spot, even though the field is frozen. You're you're cheating at that point. Um, so we're gonna do the stages, 15 minutes in between each stage. Field is frozen. We'll
Give us
go
all a
out.
chance to rest our arms.
Yes, we'll go out, get something to drink. Um, change our tires, put some fuel in, take some weight off the cart, put some weight on if there's driver changes. Also, that will be the perfect time for a driver change in between stages. Um, so that's how we're running the Fremont 500. If you look at the other configuration that I sent you,
As I say, hold on, I don't have that one pulled up.
no, you're fine. You're fine. I'll wait for you to get that up there.
Yeah, let me pull that one up real quick. But go ahead and kind of
Yeah, yeah.
continue your thought.
So if you take when we take a look at this picture here, without using Fremont's hairpin, this configuration for the Freedom 400. I hope you guys like the name because it's the July 3rd race. Um, if you take a look at this picture here, we actually will be converting both the um, uh, the hairpin and the bus stop on the back stretch there. We will be converting both of those into hot pits.
Oh,
So for this race, for the Freedom 400, there will be no stages. It is just 400 laps. If we go green flag racing the whole time, gonna suck, but that's how it's gonna go.
I'll just throw the picture of Fremont back up there. I can't pull the
Okay.
one up right now, but
No, you're fine. Uh, but for the listeners, just know, we're talking about the configuration without using um, the uh, hairpin there coming out of turn one. We are converting the hairpin and the bus stop on the backstretch there into the hot pits. So with that race, there will not be um, any stages. It's just you start the race and we go 400 laps until it's done. Um, that's going to mean green flag pit stops. That's going to mean pit stops under caution. So be fast. Um, it's gonna be interesting.
that's gonna
It's gonna
be
be really
another strategy changer.
exactly. Basically, for anybody who's listening to this that decides, hey, I'm gonna go out and buy a go kart and I'm gonna go race with these guys. Your strategy for the 500 is going to be 100% different from the strategy in the 400. It's
Yeah.
going to be rough. Like I said, there's doubtful, but there's a possibility of just 400 straight green flag laps.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
brutal.
yes. And like I said too, if we've got a long green flag run and your tires are going, or your gas is getting low, and you're in first place, you're in second place, you
And you
got to
don't
give it
have that
up.
much of a lead.
Yeah, you have to give it up.
Yep.
And this is another you know NASCAR incorporated mindset into this idea.
Right.
We want the strategy, especially the pit strategies. We want our racers to sit there and think about how they're going to do this, how we're going to get through it, how we're going to win this race. How are we going to win the race off pit road?
Yeah.
All of those things come into factor here. And like I said earlier in this podcast, there's not another series like it. There's not. There is endurance racing, but they do set times instead of set laps.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, most of them are mandatory. You have to do driver changes. This one, it's optional. Um,
If you got
and they
enough
don't do they
balls to
don't
do 400 or 500 laps.
right. They don't do stages.
Yeah.
They don't do stages. So you know, as to where some of our races will have stages, so you'll have that time to kind of relax, even though it's not long. You'll have some time to relax. But
Yeah.
then other races where we don't have the stages, you have to be on your toes. You have to know what's going on, where, when you need to pit, everything. Everything's going to come into play, and I'm telling you, this first season is going to be a lot of playing around, finding out the strategy for next year.
Yep.
That's basically what this one is. This whole season is a huge test run for next year.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And with that being said, too, next year we plan on adding two more races to the schedule. And
Wow.
those two races, I can promise everyone listening, will be out of the state of Ohio.
Now
We,
now you're just making it even more compelling for me. I hope you
yes,
realize this.
we have talked to Whiteland Raceway Park over in Whiteland, Indiana. They actually have a banked. I think they're the only banked corner. The only go kart track with a banked corner in the United States. And when I mean like a banked corner, like we're talking like a Bristol banked corner.
Ooh. Ooh.
Um, we've been in talks with them a lot. There's also a racetrack called Michiana. It's over in Indiana, but it's on the Indiana Michigan border. We've been talking to a lot. That track has a hot pit, so that would be in as like a legitimate hot pit lane. So that would be
Uh-huh.
cool.
That will be
We're
cool.
trying to get there, and Another race, or the other race we at EKRL we've been talking about, but no confirmations. This is way out there, but we would love to do it. There is a racetrack called 103rd Street Sports Complex in Jacksonville, Florida, and we basically in the karting world everybody calls it Little Dega because the high speeds and big corners, big sweeping corners. We are trying our hardest to at least get down to there for
I was
one
gonna
of our
say
races
that's a
next
boot.
year. It is a boot. It is a
That's a
boot.
boot.
And we
It's
don't
even more of
expect
a
all of
boot
our
from the guys from the northern part of the state.
yes.
Ooh,
We don't expect everybody to go. People like me, I'm of course going, whether I'm racing or officiating. You know, I kind of have to.
right.
Um, but I'll be damned if I go and don't race on that racetrack. And honestly, Nick, whenever you get a chance, go
Yeah.
to YouTube and watch some of those videos. Like I said, it's called 103rd Street Race Complex.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm saying that right. I'll look it up right now. Actually, yeah, yes, 103rd Street Sports Complex in East Jacksonville, Florida. Um, Pretty big racetrack. Um, High speeds. Like I said, when you watch some videos, take a look at some of their speedos. They're going on that backstretch,
Mm-hmm.
uh, close to 70 miles per hour.
In a
And a
206?
yes, in a 206. I'm
That's a
actually
lot.
sending you. I'm sending you a picture of this racetrack now on Facebook. I
I'll
apologize to your listeners. They're probably sitting there wondering, "Well, I want to see the track too." But guys, just look it up. 103rd Street Sports Complex, Jacksonville, Florida. You could see it
Holy
on the street
smokes.
view or
That
satellite
straightaway is
view.
huge.
Yes. Yeah.
That straight is huge.
Now, do you see that? Do you see that big sweeping corner at the bottom of your screen, Nick?
It's kind of covered in trees, but yes.
Yes. Yeah, but you see the beginning and the end there.
Yes.
That corner, the videos I've watched, you're taking that corner full throttle, and you're coming out of that corner at about 40 miles an hour.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it is banked a little bit, so that's perfect
Gives you a
for
little bit of help.
exactly. I've done a lot of reading on this track too. Supposedly, it's kind of dangerous as well.
Well,
They
I
have
mean, 70 mile an
yeah,
hour straight, no harness.
they have
You're
light.
relying on
I
your
guess they have
safety
like light
gear.
poles. Yeah, they have. If you look, they have light poles in the middle of the tracks that I guess
Yeah.
guys have spun out into that big sweeping corner. You don't see it because it's covered by the trees there,
Mm-hmm.
but there's only a chain link fence protecting you and the main road on the
Oh,
other side of the
lovely.
streets or those trees.
Uh-huh.
So that one's a challenge as well. Um, but that's a huge goal of ours. Probably an unrealistic goal. So we're looking more at um, East Lansing, Michigan kart track
Mm-hmm.
for now. But if we can get that going, we're taking it.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, there's no way we can't take that track. You know, we'll
You'd
get the Florida guys
you'd be dead to not see me there too.
right. Exactly. You know, we'll have the Southern guys. We'll have some of the Northern guys travel down. I don't see how that's going to be a bad thing if we get down there. You
I
know,
don't
I
see how it'd
understand
be a
some of
bad
our
thing
local
either.
yeah, I understand some of our local guys will probably be upset because they don't want to drive all the way there. But there's people like you and me. We're gonna go, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be the time of our lives.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no kidding. Well, awesome. Well, we've talked about a lot today.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought
Oh,
there.
one more thing I do want to say. For this year, our first year, we only have 3 races scheduled. Um, like I said, by next year we will have race number 4 and 5 on the schedule. But as of right now, we have the Fremont 500 on March 26th. We have the Freedom 400 at Fremont on July 3rd. And then we have the Wilmington 200 at Wilmington Raceway Park in Wilmington, Ohio, October 8th.
That's awesome. 3 races right out the gate, and those are not short by any means.
And we are highly considering by next year when we add the 2 other races, those 3 races that I named off for this first year are without a doubt going to be our crown jewel races. Those races and racetracks will not be going anywhere anytime soon on our schedule. They are
That's
going to
awesome.
be specifically set for the last weekend in March, the first weekend or the July 4th weekend in July, and the first weekend in October. And we are not moving them. We are not getting rid of them. And the other 2 races that we schedule will be scheduled around those.
That's awesome.
And we plan on, by next year, if you are able to do I guess you could say the Triple Crown sweep, we are considering a specific trophy for the racer that can win all 3 of those in one
Ooh.
season.
Oh, wow.
So not only will you get your specific trophies for winning each race, but you will also get a 4th trophy for winning all 3 races if you can win all 3 races.
Yeah, that's a pretty big if.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. One more thing. I don't know if we went over it. And if we don't have time, it's okay.
No, we got
I was
as
gonna say
much time
I
as you
know
need.
we talked about getting on at least the last week or a week before the 500. Um, Points. I don't think we talked about our
Oh,
point system,
no, we did not. My bad.
and I think that would be something that we should probably talk about.
Probably, yeah, a little bit. My bad.
Yeah, yeah. So give me one sec. I'm actually getting something out of my truck. So
You're
hold on one second.
take your time. Take your time.
But okay. So yeah, points. Points are going to be, especially with 3 races, wanted to keep the points race itself close. We didn't want to set up the points to where, if somebody were to win a race and then come in second the next week or the next race, we didn't want them to be able to win the championship right then and there.
Sure, sure. You don't
Basically,
want somebody locking it up and running away with it.
exactly. And basically, how we're going to do this is to you have basically no matter what, we're going to be crowning our champion in the last race of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So, how we're going to do this is, first of all, let me start off by saying there will be a max cart count in a race.
I
If
would
we
certainly hope so.
exceed that max cart count in signups, how we will do this is before the main race, we will run 2 heat races.
Oh,
The
good
top
lordy.
20 of each heat race will advance to the final race,
Mm-hmm.
making it a 40 go kart field.
Whew.
Again, just like NASCAR, how they limit it to only 40 cars on the track.
Right.
So, with points, let me get this up here because I have this down in my notes. So, for points, we'll start with 40th. Okay. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll start with 40th. 40th place, if you were to finish the Fremont 540th, you are awarded 1 point. If you finish 39th, you're awarded 2 points. This continues all the way up until 2nd place, where you will be awarded 39 points. To win the race, you will be getting 40 points plus 10 bonus points for winning the race. So you will have an 11-point advantage over 2nd place. Are you following, or am
Mm-hmm.
I confusing here? Or
No, you're good. You're good.
now we will also have bonus points. Like most laps led, you will be awarded 5 bonus points. Um, for example, racers like me who run the full race instead of swapping with another driver. If you run the full race, no matter where you finish, you will be awarded 5 extra bonus points. Most laps between team drivers. So let's say you and another driver split the race, and we'll take the 500 for example. We'll say that you run stage 1 and 2, which are 150 laps each. You do the math, that's 300 laps.
Right.
Driver number 2 then finishes it out with in stage 3 and runs the 200. Well, if you ran 300 laps and he only ran 200, you will be awarded 3 extra bonus points,
Nice.
separate from your team driver. And the reason why we are doing that is because if you're a team driver, say you and somebody else team up, where you finish, say you finish in third, you and your team driver will technically be tied for third place because
Mmm.
you will be getting awarded the same amount of points.
Right.
The differing factor is whether or not a driver races more laps than the other driver. So say you ran the 300 and he ran the 200, you guys finish in third, that's 38 points. You'll get 3 points added on to yours. So you'll technically be in third, and then your teammate will be sitting in fourth.
Interesting. That's
And
honestly an interesting system. I like it.
and then for the stages, this is the last bonus points that will be applied to the points. For stage winner, when applied, you will be awarded 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, let's say let's say you win the race and you race the whole race. Let's also say you get the most laps led. So for finishing in first, you would get 40 points plus 5 points, or I'm sorry, plus the 10 to separate you from the rest of the pack. You'll have 50 points right there.
Right.
You add on 5 for the most laps led, plus another 5 because let's say you run the whole race. That's
Right.
now 60 points at this point.
Whew.
Add on another for winning a stage. That's 62 points. But let's just say you win all 3 stages. Plus 2, that's 66 points, while second place will have only 39 points. So there is going to be a way where a driver can lock it in by race number 2, but we are making that extremely
Extremely
hard.
hard to do.
Yes. We are keeping that extremely hard to do by keeping the points so close.
Right. That's awesome.
Now, by the time we add in the 2 other races for next year, that might change a little bit. We might make it intervals of 2 separating each position,
Right.
or we might still the same if people like the points championship and how it's ran and how it turns out, we'll keep it the same. Because there's no point in fixing a broken system, or there's no point in fixing a system that's not broken.
Right. Keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly. Keep it simple, keep it interesting, and keep it close. That is our goal. That has always been our goal, along with being one of the cheaper options of racing leagues around.
Well, that's awesome. Like I said, I'm definitely excited. And to get me
You and me
excited
both.
about something is not easy to do nowadays.
Right. Especially with everything that's been going on in the world. I
Yeah.
understand that completely.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me just put it to you this way. The end of the month, I'm gonna be a busy man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same here, especially with, school. Excuse
Yeah.
me.
Well, I'll
With
be in
school and
Daytona and I'm planning a whole slate of content for the 24. So
okay.
be
Okay.
on the lookout
Yeah.
for that, everyone.
Yeah, I'll be extremely busy as well because not only do we have the Fremont 500 March 26th, but the weekend after, I am going down to Bristol with my school for uh, car races.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I I
That's
think
not
they're going to
Bristol
try to put
Dirt
us on
Weekend,
a
is it?
team pit stop. Uh, I no, that
Hmm.
is not Dirt Weekend. I think they've changed that.
Mm.
Or no, I'm sorry. It's not Bristol. God, you're so right. It's not Bristol. I'm going to Martinsville with my
Oh,
school, not Bristol.
nice.
You said dirt, and it got me thinking. I was like, oh wait, it's the other half mile track.
Well, that's awesome.
Because you're right, that is dirt weekend. The
Mm-hmm.
first race weekend at Bristol is the dirt weekend for
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR. So you are
Mm-hmm.
correct.
Well, that's
Um,
awesome. We've covered a lot.
yes,
Um, we'll let that sink in with everyone. So we'll stop for this week, and we'll kind of get back into this the week before the 500.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, heck, I'll try to keep my available. I can't talk right now. Availability pretty open. If there's a chance that we can jump on before a week before, let's do it.
Oh, for sure.
Because there is going to be more information coming out as
Sure.
we go along. Uh, you know, for your listeners listening, this league is still very, very new. Um, like I said, we had gotten organized all of it over the summer, but we didn't announce it until right before Christmas in December.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's exploded.
Well,
So I couldn't
just
be
for future reference too, where can people find you?
uh, find information on the league.
Yeah.
So as of right now, we can only be found on Facebook under Endurance Kart Racing League. There, you will find a lot of our information as it comes out. Um, you'll find a lot of our rules. You'll find a lot of our pricing, and you will see a lot of the interest that it has accrued over the past month now, I guess, or a
Oh,
little under a
I
month.
know it's blown up.
Yeah, it really has, and like I said, it's actually been under a month since I've announced it. So you can right now find us on Facebook under Endurance Kart Racing League, but by the end of the year, we do plan on having our website um, up and open. Um, we're just going to give ourselves the 1 year to kind of get everything together before we really start going all out with the website, advertisement, stuff like that.
Well, that's awesome. I honestly can't wait to see where this league goes. I'm excited.
Oh, to you and me both. Like I said, I'm more nervous than excited because, um, for your listeners, we're doing this all out of pocket. There is no sponsorship. Um, and if there are any listeners that would be interested in sponsoring a race or a league or a driver, you know, get a hold of Nick. He can get a hold of me. He can put us together. You know, any help is very much appreciated because right now this whole year is going to be coming out of our pockets, and that's why we're more nervous than excited because if this
Sure.
flops, we're going to be
A
out some
lot of
money.
people losing a lot of money.
Yes, yes. I have confidence though it won't flop, and we got to keep that confidence. That's for sure.
Confidence is the best medicine, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. So I think we're gonna close the show out here. Like I said, we've talked a lot. We've dumped a ton of info on this. So, and there will be more coming out in the following months. For Evan
Absolutely.
Smoot, I'm Nick Burnow. This has been Ruthless ST Radio, and I will
Thank
see you next week. Have
thank you,
a
guys.
good one.